again, everyone. This is Merideth Nagel with our latest edition of Homeschool for Realtors. It's hurricane season, y'all, and you know what that means, closing delays. So today we're going to talk about what happens when you're closing, if there's a hurricane coming, or really any kind of act of God. So let's give you a typical example of what we see. Let us suppose that you have a closing scheduled for Friday. And then let us further suppose that we find out on Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday, whatever day we find out that there is a tropical storm coming through. And we next learn that because of this tropical storm, as is almost 100% of the time, the buyer's insurer will not let them close. They cannot get their insurance in place until that storm has been out of the area for more than 72 hours. So going back to our hypothetical, if the storm is supposed to move through the area on the Friday, as an example, that you were set to close, then that means that the contract, the closing date will be extended until the storm is gone and that 72 hours has elapsed in our situation. Basically, any time that the thing that is causing the buyer to not to be able to close, once that's resolved, then you can go to closing. Let's give you another example. Suppose you're closing at a title company, there is a terrible thunderstorm and the power goes out. Can your seller and buyer just walk away? Nope. If it's related to a storm, it's an act of God, it's an unforeseen circumstance, and the extension that will be in place is for the length of the act of God at issue. So, how long does that act of God last? Well, it lasts as long as not what you say so, but what the government says so. So in our situation, when the hurricane warning is over, is when the storm is over, not when you walk outside and happen to see that the weather is good. If there's a fire, anything like that, if there's been any kind of national or local emergency declared, the extension lasts as long as the emergency is in place, up to 30 days, no more than 30 days. And if additional time is needed after the event is over, so in our circumstance, our first hypothetical we gave where they're trying to close but they can't get insurance, they won't be able to get the insurance until the storm event has been over for 72 hours. So in our hypothetical, storm comes through on Friday, the storm is considered no longer a threat to our area on Saturday, then the buyer has 72 hours to close. Now, do not do an addendum for all these issues. Please remember, we've had these Homeschool for Realtors before about the dangers of doing an addendum when you don't have to. Don't do an addendum because you know what? This is automatically addressed in your contract. If you go look under the standards section G, somewhere around line 425, whether you're looking at the as-is contract or the standard contract, both of them have the force majeure clause, which basically means if there is an act of God outside of the buyer or seller's control that prevents them from closing, then there is an automatic extension in place. You don't need to do an addendum. You simply need to, if you're the buyer or the seller, whichever party needs to invoke this clause, you just let the other side know we are invoking the force majeure clause, see line 425 of the contract. We'll be able to close at whatever mutual date you guys set after the act of God is over. So if you have any questions about what to do if you have a hurricane or another act of God and your closing is delayed, or any other questions about anything related to your closing or real estate in general, whether you're closing with our company or not, please give us a call. You can get us at 352-394-7408. We very much look forward to hearing from you.